Welcome everybody, I am 6am Comics, and this is reviewing my 9-year-old's comics. A number of weeks ago, we took a look at the debut of an obscure character in the worldwide universe, known only via word of mouth as the Blue Ghost. Following this review, we were left with a lot of questions to which many believe we'd never obtain the answers to, mainly because the general consensus was that Blue Ghost became a literal ghost by the end of the comic. Well, as fate would have it, this mysterious blue vigilante has re-emerged from the depths of Nolan's psyche in the form of not one, not two, but 3 official worldwide comic book adventures. Tonight, we will be reviewing issue number 1, The Blue Ghost, Fire Snap, Part 1. Let's get at it. Beginning with the overall presentation, we're treated to a beautifully designed cover. Nolan puts both pencil and markers to good use with a calming, cool color scheme of blues and purples, complemented nicely with a sparing use of red. Always upping his game, we see the Blue Ghost logo is masterfully shaded with a monochrome gradient, a technique not commonly on display in the Worldwide Archive. As we pull back and take the entirety of the cover design in, we see all of these elements come together to form a rather ghostly atmospheric appearance. As is standard with Worldwide Comics, this floppy is presented in a triple staple format, and the interiors are illustrated in black and white with pencil. The story is 10 pages in total, placing this one on the lengthier side of a typical Worldwide production, but not necessarily out of the ordinary for a debut issue. Moving on, let's take a look at the story itself. In the pitiful streets of Fort Worth, where scoundrels rule, a hero emerges from the ashes. Blue Ghost! And Blue Ghost's powers include teleportation from the snap of a finger. In the next panel, we see that the source of his power comes from the moon, and he absorbs this lunar energy when he holds his hands up to the moon's shining light. Oh, and he has purple laser eyes. I'm not gonna lie, that one just seems a bit OP. So, he also has a villain, the Flame. The Flame can shoot flamey lasers from his chest. Crap! And so our tale begins with Blue Ghost teleporting through the sky as he sings to himself. As he casually zaps through the air, he's alerted to the sound of a nearby explosion. Odd, he says to himself as he hears the sounds of somebody calling out, "Yoo-hoo!" Snap! He teleports across the city sky in search of the source of this disturbance. A villain! He glances down at the city below him, honing in on his target. He begins to free fall towards the explosion, and as he claps his hands together, he supercharges himself with the moon's aura, preparing for the worst. I appreciate this little note in the lower right corner reminding our readers that he gets his powers from the moon. While some may find this sort of thing redundant, I think it's a nice way to hold a less experienced reader's hand throughout the story, making sure they're not getting lost along the way. Opening one of his teleportation portals, Blue Ghost peeks through to scope out the situation. He makes contact with a sinister-looking, shadowy figure. Hi. Tapping this figure's chest, our hero makes an observation. That's a real hot chest you got there. Yeesh, try saying that at your day job. Whoosh. With a fiery blaze, it is revealed that this mystery villain is none other than the Flame, as his face illuminates above his burning chest. Before Blue Ghost can properly respond, the Flame spews forth his chest heat, igniting our protagonist. Gah! The flames surrounding him vanish, and he finds that his fire-based villain has also vanished. Blue Ghost, nearly burnt to a crisp, runs off in search of this dangerous foe. Note to self, that bozo can shoot fire out of his belly! As police sirens are heard nearby, Blue Ghost says to himself, "Glad I charged up." He backflips into the air and uses his lasers to give him a speed boost out of the area. I mean, he could have just teleported, but this definitely looks cooler, so I'm gonna roll with it. Later, he arrived. Voila! No. Stand back! The Flame holds a young woman hostage as she screams for help. Or she gets it! That's Marcia, the girl in my class! Okay, no skin off my nose. With a snap, Blue Ghost teleports behind the Flame. You told me to get behind your back. Before the flame can respond, our hero begins pummeling his antagonist into the ground. That is so aggressive, but I approve. Again, you've got to give Nolan respect for the way he helps young readers navigate through this sometimes confusing visual storytelling that is the nature of comic books. The flame growls through a blood-soaked face. Bruised, beaten, and like a caged animal, this vengeful enemy unleashes a mighty flame into the sky as he shouts a menacing war cry. Wring my neck and call me a chicken! What the heck? Oh yeah, I forgot he's a Texan. We zoom out to see that the flame has manifested a monstrous fiery avatar of kaiju proportions as it towers over a nearby city building and proceeds to grab a massive chunk from the side of its walls. This poor guy, he's probably just trying to sit down and watch a riveting episode of Reviewing My 9-Year-Old's Comics. Like and subscribe. Blue Ghost watches in horror as the towering inferno throws the ignited handful of building debris in his direction. Thinking quickly, he pushes Marcia to safety as the debris begins to consume him. Not as strong as you thought, eh? From the point of view of our beloved hero, we are presented with total darkness. He's down. Hey, come here, sweetie. Yeah, you. The flame pursues the damsel in distress as our protagonist lay motionless amongst the fallen debris. Marcia screams as we cut to our fallen Blue Ghost, who, in a shocking twist, reveals that he is simply playing possum, waiting for his moment to intervene. To be continued! What a way to reintroduce such an obscure character to the general public. Fire Snap Part 1 was easily the sleeper hit of 2025, and we're only in March. And it really speaks to the innovation of a creative force like Nolan. To take a character as underdeveloped and relatively unknown as Blue Ghost and reinvent him in a way that feels fresh and yet strangely familiar to the worldwide archive of superheroes is truly a testament to this young creator's abilities. I could go on and on about the upgrade in artistic talent, the insane levels of growth as a storyteller, and the ease in which this book balances both humor and heart. But it'd simply be reiterating the obvious. Instead, let's analyze some of the underlying themes and insinuations found in this comic book. I refer back to the original debut of this title character from the 2-page comic book, Hacked. If we recall from my original assessment, I had assumed that he was the first international superhero, but as it turns out, he's a native to good old Fort Worth, Texas. God's country, if you will. Maybe that wasn't the Eiffel Tower. Maybe he was just visiting Las Vegas. Now let's talk about teleportation, shall we? While Blue Ghost himself did not seemingly display any actual superhuman abilities, the act of teleportation did present itself, although it wasn't something performed by Blue Ghost himself, rather it was done to him. And while it could have been assumed that the Cold Commander was the one who teleported Blue Ghost to his icy domain, I have another theory. Now, unfortunately, I can't get into too much detail, as much of this theorization comes from information found in the 3rd issue of Blue Ghost, which we haven't reviewed yet, but I'll do my best to summarize. In my review of Hacked, I alluded to the foreshadowing provided by the video game Blue Ghost is playing at the beginning of the issue. It showed a hero being killed by projectiles, only to reveal that our hero is soon thereafter seemingly killed by a projectile. Another act of foreshadowing was the teleportation that occurred shortly after the game over screen. Just what was going on with that video game? Something hacked it and teleported our hero to a predestined death. I won't get into too many spoilers, but let's just say that in Blue Ghost issue number 3, there is an otherworldly presence that causes real-world glitches and even gives Blue Ghost a new power before the issue's end. I find that interesting. A glitch-inducing entity which can grant superpowers? Sounds like the same kind of entity that could hack a video game and teleport a man to his death. And in case you're thinking, come on, Six, we never actually saw Blue Ghost die. Well, may I refer to you to page 1 of Blue Ghost Fire Snap Part 1, in which a hero emerges from ashes. Call me crazy, but heroes don't just emerge from ashes. Sounds to me like somebody was just brought back from the dead with superhuman powers, fueled by a ghostly nighttime moon. And let's also remember the name Blue Ghost does not officially appear canonically until this very issue, almost as if this character wasn't technically a ghost yet in his debut appearance. Sounds to me like somebody died and reappeared as a ghost. And there you have it, the unexpected return of the Blue Ghost. Now, were our many lingering questions finally answered from the bizarre, hacked debut of this hero? Not really. In fact, I have so many more questions now. But regardless, I'm going to give this issue a rating of one big fire snap.